what you said, Vicki, is, and I understand there's people, there's a lot of county employees that I haven't had an issue with, but you say they're doing their job and doing it well. I wish you would drive our county roads right now. And we're 12 weeks into this, and I'm not asking for miracle workers. I want the roads fixed, and that's created me more issues with county employees because I've asked questions over things that's happened as far as what time we leave the shop, what time we get back, what I see. I drive gravel roads all winter long in this county doing my daily business, and I see all kinds of things in this county that wouldn't work in private enterprise.
Very good, thank you. All right. Let's see, we've got some miscellaneous type questions here. We've got some time. So, District 2 Commissioner candidates. The Linn County Sheriff's Office is in need of new patrol vehicles, new equipment, and more personnel. How do you plan to financially support the Sheriff's Office?
I can start with that. I've definitely reached out to a few people, and a few people have reached out to me. So I've already started an actual binder on the Sheriff's Department. So to be honest with you, I didn't realize there were any concerns in the Sheriff's Department. I felt like things were running smoothly, just because we don't hear in public comment or during any commissioners' meetings what's going on. So as far as what I have right now and the budget that I have and what I'm going by, I mean, obviously that's up to the sheriff coming in, but I do support. I definitely want to look into the fleet enterprise again. I know that they had talked about that. I think it was on 3/28 of 2022. I know that they're in need of cars and a few different things. So obviously there are concerns, and I would love to address those concerns. And I feel like I would support the Sheriff's Department with any needs or immediate needs when it comes to vehicles or anything like that to get them on the road. So.
For all of us? Yeah. Okay. I think we've supported the Sheriff's Office. I mean, it's we refinanced the bond to pay it off quicker, and I think when I came in, the Sheriff's Office was there, and I don't think I've been against anything as far as the Sheriff's budget. I have questions with the resource officer program. My wife was a school nurse for 28 years, and I understand the resource officer program. You never ever heard me say that I'm against the resource officer program. I'm against the way we're running it. I think we can do better. I would like to see a log of the hours we actually spend in the buildings, in each building, because I've been told by officers that for a football game, we come out of the school to go to a football game at another school, and we take kids out of a building for 4 hours, or an officer out of the building for 4 hours. I think an officer, if we're going to have a resource officer, he needs to be there when the door's open until the door's closed. I think that's my idea of it. If we're going to have them in the building, I think they should be there. Or I'd like to see the log of how many hours we actually go. I think we go in semesters at times and don't have resource officers in some buildings. And if we're going to put them there, let's put them in there full time.
Well, if you're going to cut taxes, you got to quit spending. The sheriff just talked about all the money they're going to make. Well, they need to cut the sheriff's budget, and he can have the money that they out of the general fund to fund whatever his needs are. That's taxpayer dollars, all of it, folks, every bit of it. And if you're going to cut, you got to cut spending. You can't keep spending. If you want to lower taxes, you got to quit spending. So that's one place to start. There's many others. I'm sure we can look into it, but if you're going to cut taxes, and that's what needs to be done, you got to quit spending.
I'm going to answer this question from a 30,000 foot level. sitting in on these meetings, commissioner meetings for quite a bit, and the hearing for your budget is just, I think it misses the mark. I spent 5 years in Central Missouri as vice president, another 2 years overseas as a vice president at a very prestigious university in the Middle East. And during that budget process, the first question to ask is, did you spend all the money that we allocated you last year on the things you were going to use it for? And if the answer is no, well, why didn't you spend that money on the things you said you were going to use it on? The other question is, did you overspend your budget? And if you overspent it, why did you overspend it? And was it for good things? So this really comes down to managing the budgets for the departmental level and hitting the marks.
Well, I know when I served for 10 years that we had our department fleet on a rotational system. As the older, higher mileage cars, when we were having problems with them, that's when we would replace and put them on a rotational system. With good management, that can be done. You don't have to replace a lot of cars at one time. We have a jurisdiction in our county of 961 miles, I believe. Our department covers a lot of miles, and we have to keep our fleet up and running and in very good condition. Sometimes when you just say cut taxes, you're also cutting services. What do you want to cut? Do you want to cut our security, our safety, our ambulance? Each ambulance that we incorporated into the county, I was there when we expanded into the west part of our county, you're looking at $300,000 at least per ambulance. And that is to staff it medically and with all of the equipments needed. Our sheriff's office is the same way. It's expensive. It is, but it's providing a service to you that is very important. So it's something that you have to consider and realize it is worth it to make sure that our cars are up and running. They're in very good condition. And I'm very supportive of our sheriff's department. And I will always support them in any way that I can. And I feel like we're going to have very good management. And I'm proud of the way they have managed and turned money back over to the county. And I believe they deserve the best. So that's how I feel.
Okay, any rebuts or anything? Okay.
Just this week, and I'm not out to you, Kevin, because Kevin got a $150,000 grant from KDHE to where he could spend money. But it came through the claims this week for $50,400, and Kevin was in charge, so I'm not out to Kevin at this at all, but KDHE gave us a $150,000 grant, and we bought a 3-stall self-contained bathroom on a 3x16 trailer. We're talking cars there. I mean, and I'm saying the level of things that's happening, we're talking cars, that we need cars, but we ended up buying an 8x16 3-stall self-contained bathroom for $50,400.
I would just like to note too, on the SRO situation, I absolutely support the SROs. I've talked to a few people about that. And one of the ideas that I kind of had was possibly creating a floater position. So kind of think about that. Also on the pay scale, on the matrix, our deputies are getting paid the same amount as an assistant, a marina clerk. So just you guys keep that in mind, that our deputies are getting paid the same amount as marina clerks in this county. It is something that we need to reevaluate and give them the pay to keep them, for the retention, to keep them here. If we have people coming in here from other counties to learn how we're operating, that shouldn't be happening. If we were paying people the right amount of people that live here, the good officers that we have to keep them. So just consider that as well.
So, okay, that actually was the next question that I was going to ask. It's probably going to be our last question. What are your thoughts on the current pay of our county employees? So that's open to everybody. If you want to further elaborate or pass the mic, whatever you want to do, Ally.
You can go ahead and go. I'll come back to it.
I do think in the pay, we have issues with pay. I'm not for growing government. I'm not for putting more people, but I think that the people that we have, we need to take a strong look at our pay scale. Because we do have people, that even mowers, people on the mowers, we can't keep mowers on the tractors, and the pay we're giving isn't enough. I mean, I see that. I think that is something we need to take a strong look at. But as far as growing government, I am not into growing government, so.
As far as increasing pay for the employees, I think there needs to be an incentive program also, because we do have good employees, and I would rather cut some areas and increase their pay, and there's areas we can cut. If we sit down and visit with each office, and there's going to be places you can cut pay, but as far as increasing your county employees' pay, yes, that's one thing I would agree that we could do and improve, but there's got to be cuts somewhere else to offset that. But I do agree that the county employees, if you're going to hire someone to run equipment, they need to get paid. There can be incentives too. I mean, there needs to be training programs. If they pass these training programs and learn it, then increase their pay accordingly. Same way with our police officers. I mean, if they're due increases in pay, I'd much rather do that and we'll find places to cut money for that.
It really is pretty simple. If we're underpaying our employees, they don't stay with us, they go somewhere else. We have to find out the right salary for the right position descriptions. And that's some work, it needs to be done. But if you do that, then you keep employees. And if they make a case that they're being underpaid, do some homework and do some research and figure out what the right amount is. And I think that's what the key is to keeping good employees.
I agree with that, and I feel that we need to study neighboring counties and look at their base rates on their employees. I think that our sheriff's office in particular is very low. We are training many officers and then they move on to Miami County or Johnson County because our rate is so much less. And I feel that we need to study that and find out the base rate on other counties and begin raising those employees' wages. I don't feel all of our positions are underpaid at all. I think many employees are very happy with their wages, but there are areas that we do need to study, and those that we do, I believe we can retain those employees and keep them here. And it is really detrimental that we do that for our sheriff's office because it just can't function when we're losing employees. So I would be very much in agreement with studying that, doing the research on that with neighboring counties and trying to do our very best there without putting a burden on the taxpayers. I think there's ways that we can do that.
Ally, you want to finish up?
Sure. The KPNF has been discussed for quite a few years as well, so hopefully that's finalized before we would be coming in. So KPNF is a must. We need to get that done. Also, I would reconsider reclassifying the positions, looking at a different, possibly chain of command. Overtime issues, if you're a veteran, you have certain certifications. I definitely think that we need to look at the matrix and increase their pay. Retention and recruiting, like I said, Johnson County is about $10 per hour, but almost everyone around us is at least, double digits above us everywhere. So looking into that, and then also, again, I'll say that one more time, Prairie View High School, someone had reached out to me that they're needing extra SRO out there, so I think it would be a good opportunity to possibly put a floater in there so we don't miss out on if like an officer is sick or if they need to go to a doctor's appointment or something like that. We would send that floater to the school that doesn't have an officer that day.
Pretty good. Okay, all right. Why don't we go ahead and, Jim, if you want to start, do a closing statement and have a couple minutes and say last comments.
Well, as I was deciding to run again, my wife looked back at my statements from 4 years ago, and my mindset hadn't changed really from 4 years ago. And I'll tell you, I will probably continue asking hard questions, and not that I'm trying to be divisive in what's happening. I think when we ask the hard questions, we get some answers. And I tell you, if you guys would like to see me in again, I'd appreciate a vote on August 6th. Thank you.
Well, like I say, I think there needs to be more communication with our offices and the commissioners. And like I say, the commissioner's job is not 3 or 4 hours on Monday, as all of them well know. And communicate with all the offices, sit down, talk to them, and the leaders of each one of those. You need to have good communication with all your employees. That's just good leadership. Just sitting down and getting with them, seeing what their concerns are, look to the future, and creating good teams and communicating with the people. That helps a lot in a lot of ways. And y'all get out and vote.
When I was an undergraduate at Florida State University, I was a resident assistant. We had this one guy on the floor, Earnest, I still remember Ernie. He could never say Council Grove. That's where he's from. He could never say Council Grove. He says, I'm from historic Council Grove. I've said this to several people in this room. I'm from beautiful Linn County. This is one of the most beautiful places there is in the state, if not in the entire region. And it's a lot to be proud of, and I'm very, very proud to be here back in the county and spend my remaining days here. And my pledge is I will do everything I can with all the abilities I have, based on the experiences I have, to make Linn County the most beautiful place anybody would ever want to live. And I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
I guess in closing, I would just like to say I think that we really need to serve our constituents, be a public servant, and look at the office in that manner. We are not there for notoriety or importance. We are there to serve our people because our people are the most important. You know, when I was going to run for my 3rd term before, my mother was 100 years old. And I went in and I said, Mom, I'm going to run for commissioner again. Do you have any advice for me? And she had dementia really badly at that time. So I really didn't expect an answer. And she thought about it. And she reached out and touched my hand and she said, just always do the right thing. I guess I just want to challenge everybody here tonight. Just do the right thing. It's the best piece of advice I have ever had. And the right thing is to serve our people, to make sure we're serving our young, our old, our wealthy, our poor, our vulnerable. We're here to serve our people and take care of them. And I would appreciate your support, your vote. As I said, I was honored and humbled before to be voted as the first female commissioner elected to Linn County. And I would be humbled again and very privileged to serve as your second. Thank you.
Okay, those were some tough questions tonight, but believe it or not, I love raising my kids here. I'm very passionate about many things that go on here. I've brought a lot to the community. I've volunteered in a lot of different areas. I brought Wreaths Across America to Linn County. I hold a veterans retreat every year through Warrior Tribe Foundation. This is not a Monday job for me. This is seriously my heart and soul. So I look forward to serving the people of Linn County, and I appreciate your vote. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you all. Very good. Oh, Jim. Thank you all.